Good day, everyone. I am Miss Catherine Silacaya, your resource speaker for today's presentation. Now, we are going to tackle about some topic based on curriculum and instruction. But before that, let me define first what is curriculum and instruction. It is a field within education which seeks to research, develop, and implement curriculum changes that increase learner achievement in educational settings. It is also the field that focuses on how people learn and the best ways to educate. Next on line will be our main topic for today's presentation, which is all about supporting differentiation and individualized learning. Let me define first what is differentiation. It is a teaching approach that focuses on groups of students rather than individual students. Teachers can flexibly group students for targeted instruction activities or assignments. Students are grouped into smaller groups within a class. However, they are not left in the group permanently. The groups are flexible and based on the needs of the students. So I have here an example. A teacher identifies that a group of students has not understood for a concept and this will need to be retaught. These students are placed in a small group for the purposes of reteaching and learning this concept. It is a short-term grouping and ends with the students show evidence of understanding. And how are we going to make a differentiated instruction? So I have here some steps. First, design lessons based on students' learning styles. And the second one, you need to group students by shared interest, topic, or ability for assignments. And next, you need to assess students' learning using formative assessment. And the last one, you need to manage the classroom to create a safe and supportive environment. So, why is differentiated instruction important? It is important in order to improve the learning outcomes for students. It is more than helping students who are behind catch up. When instruction is differentiated, students can find ways to engage with the content and grow in their learning. So here are 4 ways to differentiate instruction. First is content. So what can you do is differentiate the content by designing activities for groups of students that cover various levels. And this will, you can use the Bloom's taxonomy, which is a classification of levels of intellectual behavior going from lower order thinking skills to higher order thinking skills. So if you can still remember, we have 6 levels of Bloom's taxonomy, which are first, remembering, understanding, applying, analyzing, evaluating, and creating. Example, you need to match vocabulary words to definitions. Then, read a passage of text and answer related questions. Then think of a situation that happened to a character in a story and a different outcome. Differentiate fact from opinion in the story. Then identify an author's position and provide evidence to support this viewpoint. And the last one, you can also create a PowerPoint presentation summarizing the lesson. And the second one, we have the process. So each student has a preferred learning style, and successful differentiation includes delivering the material to each style: the visual, the auditory, and kinesthetic, and through words. So this process-related method also addresses the fact that not all students require the same amount of support from the teacher, and students could choose to work in pairs, in small groups, and or individually. And while some students may benefit from one-on-one interaction with you or the classroom aide, and others may be able to progress by themselves, then teachers can enhance student learning by offering support based on individual needs. For example, you can provide them textbooks for visual and word learners. And you can also allow auditory learners to listen to audiobooks. And then give kinesthetic learners the opportunity to complete an interactive assignment online. And next is what we call product. So the product is what the student creates at the end of the lesson to demonstrate the mastery of the content. This can be the form of tests, projects, reports, or other activities. You could assign also the students to complete activities that show mastery of an educational concept in a way that the student prefers based on learning style. For example, you can tell them to write learners write a book report, and then visual learners create a graphic organizer of the story, and then auditory learners give an oral report, and then kinesthetic learners build a diorama illustrating the story. And the last one, we have learning environment. So the conditions for optimal learning include both physical and psychological elements. A flexible classroom layout is the key, incorporating various types of furniture and arrangements to support both individual and group work. Psychologically speaking, teachers should use classroom management techniques that support a safe and supportive learning environment. For example, break some students into reading groups to discuss the assignments, and then allow students to read individually if preferred. And then, you can also create quiet spaces where there are no distractions. And let's define also what is individualized learning. Individualized learning is a method of teaching in which content, instructional technology, and pace of learning are based upon the abilities and interests of each learner. So opposite. So what are the benefits of individualized learning? First, students can learn at their own pace anytime, anywhere, and independently negotiate their own learning paths. And then, give students choice in how they show their own learning. And you can also support students to develop the skills to become independent, self-managed learners. So I think that would be all my topic for today's presentation. So before I will going to end this presentation, let me share with you the saying from Charles Handy that instead of a national curriculum for education, what is really needed is an individual curriculum for every child. Okay, thank you so much for bearing your time with me. Once again, this is Miss Catherine Silacaya saying, God bless and keep safe everyone.